Hi everyone, we're going to prove two trigonometric identities. In this case, it looks like our left side is more simplified. I'm not really familiar so much with these two sides, so on this case, I'm going to go ahead and work on the right side of the equation. This is 1 over sine of x minus cosine over sine. Now, I can rewrite this as 1 minus cosine of x over sine. Now I know that what I have, when you see something like this, all you're going to do is multiply by the conjugate. And since we're working on the right side, let's go ahead and multiply the numerator by 1 plus cosine of x. So that's the conjugate. And the denominator, you have to also do the same. Now, for the numerator, we're going to get 1 minus cosine squared of x. That is your a minus b, and its conjugate, a plus b. That gives you your a squared minus b squared. Okay, so then we have in the denominator sine of x times 1 plus cosine of x. Alright, now 1 plus cosine of x is sine squared. And so then you have sine of x times 1 plus cosine of x. Well, sine of x goes into cosine of x sine times, so that's just going to be sine of x. So we're left with this, which matches our left side. So anytime you see this flip-flop thing going on, you multiply by the conjugate. Okay, you might want to try this one. Again, I'm going to write this as 1 over cosine. This is minus sine over cosine. And simple, I'm just going to write it under one denominator. And here we have this, I call it the flip-flop thing going on. And to get our right side to look like the left side, we're going to multiply it by the conjugate, the numerator. It could be the denominator or the numerator. In this case, it just happens to be the numerator. Now, we already know that the numerator is going to be 1 minus sine squared of x over cosine of x times 1 plus sine of x. We know that this equals cosine squared of x. So we get cosine squared of x over cosine times 1 plus sine of x. Alright, so basically cosine goes into cosine squared once. Why did I put the square? So it's just cosine of x, which equals cosine of x over 1 plus sine of x. Now, I want to do two more quickly because they're very similar. If you have something like cosine of x over 1 plus sine of x, and you want it to equal 1 minus sine of x over cosine of x, and this time I'm going to go ahead and work on the left side. All you have to do is multiply by the conjugate, and the conjugate would be this piece. So you're going to do cosine of x over 1 plus sine of x, and you're going to multiply it by the conjugate of this, which is 1 minus sine of x. Now, multiplying the denominator, you're going to get 1 minus sine squared of x. Numerator, you just have to kind of copy it down. Well, the denominator here, that's cosine squared of x. So you get cosine, if this is, let me just write it out. Cosine of x times 1 minus sine of x over cosine squared of x. Now, cosine goes into cosine squared once. And so there you have your answer there. I just want to make sure you know that you can multiply, the conjugate basically is this. If this is your binomial, a plus b, then the conjugate is a minus b. And the reason that's useful is because then you can write it as a squared minus b squared, which helps us with the fact that 1 minus sine squared of x equals cosine squared of x, or 1 minus cosine squared of x equals sine squared of x. And that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.